compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave, on the Township website, and posted on the bulletin boards of Township Hall.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad?
Here.
Councilmember Perry?
Here.
Councilmember Simonson is not here this evening. Deputy Mayor Clark?
Here.
Mayor Beck?
Here. Okay, tonight in the work session, we have the budget message from Manager James Ridgway, and he'll lead the show on that and introduce Leon and Mike. And just as a point, the budget will be online tomorrow morning. So for those of you who wish to take a look at it, you'll be able to go on to the Township website and see it there.
And we'll have copies, too.
Yeah.
For anybody who wants a copy.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning.
Okay, James.
Good evening, Council. The Council has received a copy of the proposed municipal budget for the year 2015. Due to several factors, there is a 2.5-cent tax increase. The tax levy is $20,224,231.41 compared to last year's $19,268,529.55, an increase of $955,701.86. The amount of surplus supporting this year's budget decreased from 2014 by $265,000 or 12.83%. This is because several adjustments made to fund balance in 2014 will not be made in 2015, so the maximum amount that can be responsibly anticipated is $1.8 million. There are revenues that will not be included in the 2015 budget, including half of the Lower Township Elementary School contribution for the school resource officer. The SRO is retiring and the school will be funding this position out of their budget. This means that the officer replacing the SRO will be in addition to our current patrol members. There are 4 additional police hires in this budget, which raises our current number of officers from 42 to 46. I want to make a note here that in the summer, 2 veteran officers are retiring and are going to be replaced. Our chief is currently working on his strategy for such, and when he gives me his recommendations, I will present these to council. The health insurance line increased by $290,000 or 7.6%. The increase was originally over 12%, but is being offset by employee contributions of $400,000. This budget fully funds our annual July 4th celebration of fireworks. This will assure the continuation of this successful program without relying on contributions from generous donors. Terminal leave payments of $200,000 and pension and payroll tax increases of $100,000 make up the final portion of the increase. The local tax rate for the year 2015 is 56.1 cents per $100 of assessed value. The municipal purpose tax will be $561 for every $100,000 of assessed value. An average assessed residence valued at $229,000 will see an increase of $57 or $14.25 per quarter. The total assessed value of real property upon which this tax rate is based is $3,605,399,621 compared to $3,598,751,806 in 2014, which is an increase of $6,641,815. This reflects increases in new property and construction valuations, lowered by successful tax appeals and adjustments in value made by the tax assessor. Every $360,540 of the amount to be raised by taxation for the 2015 budget equals 1 cent on the tax rate. The township completed 2014 with a surplus of $4,020,025. Of that balance, $1.8 million is being applied to this year's budget, leaving a balance of $2,220,026. The tax collection rate for 2014 was 98.32%, compared to 98.21% in 2013. This budget uses 96.8% rate to compute the reserve for uncollected taxes in 2015. The public hearing is scheduled for April 20th. A budget summary will be published in the Cape May Star and Wave. Copies will be available on the township website as well as in the clerk's office at Town Hall. Each council member has been provided a 2015 budget notebook that includes individual department requests for other expenses and capital, salaries and wages, along with revenue reports. Lastly, this is not the adoption of the township budget. This is a working document that belongs to the Township Council, and they may make changes to the recommended budget or move to introduce the budget as recommended at the appropriate time. Lauren Reed, our CFO, has worked closely assisting me in the presentation of these documents. And at this time, I would like to introduce Michael Garcia from Ford Scott Associates, who are our auditors.
Thank you. Mr. Ridgway, just to reemphasize a couple of things you said, the tax increase in this budget as it stands now is 2.5 cents. This is the introduction, which means it's the beginning of the process to ultimately adopt. The hearing on this budget will be April 20th. At that time, the public will have the opportunity to comment and question and respond to the budget. So this is just the beginning of the process. The township can make changes or amendments to this between now and April 20th in any of the line items that you may see fit. So by introducing tonight, you're just starting the process. You're not locking yourself into anything. This is the beginning of the process. The state requires that all municipalities introduce their budgets by March 13th, so you're ahead of schedule. But March 13th is the latest that you can introduce and still be in compliance. Also, two important things. All municipalities in New Jersey are subject to 2 caps, as you remember. There's the 3.5% spending cap and the 2% tax levy cap. This budget, as it stands now, is in compliance with both of those caps. We are $828,000 below the 3.5% spending cap, and we are right at the tax levy cap.
Would you use that or that one or the other? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Wow. The recap, though, was that we are below the spending cap, the 3.5% spending cap. We are $828,000 below the 3.5% spending cap, and we are right at the tax levy cap, the 2% with adjustments. To repeat for those that maybe didn't hear when I didn't have the microphone, the introduction process tonight is the first step. It's the beginning. The hearing on this budget will be April 20th. Between now and then, the township may choose to amend or change any or all lines in the budget as you see fit. So by introducing tonight, you're not locking yourself or committing yourself to anything other than beginning the process. Those are the comments that I wanted to make. Lauren, is there anything?
I think we covered everything.
All right. Unless you have any questions, that's what I wanted to mention.
Council?
It's the introduction. This is where council starts working on the budget officially. We gave guidelines throughout the year for spending, and to the public, I very highly doubt we are going to see, when this comes down to it, a 2.5 cent tax increase.
Hearing the numbers, seeing the numbers, and reviewing over the budget that I've done so far, again, I have to reiterate that, we are going to definitely look at this budget thoroughly, and shared services keeps popping in my mind. Anywhere we can save money, I think we need to take a close, hard look at it and move in the direction to save the taxpayers as much money as we possibly can, with retaining the services that they're receiving. So I know I'm definitely going to be looking at the numbers for sure.
I want to second that emphasis on the importance of sharing services for the economies of scale. I just want to get some clarification from the manager, if I may, on the increase in the police force. Are there going to be 4 additional for the whole year? Could you give us a little bit more detail on how we're ramping up on the
Okay.
police force?
Well, we have 3 that just came out of the academy, and we have 1 that's going into the academy, I believe, next week in Cumberland County. That will be the 4. Okay, so that should bump us up to,
But we lose 2 during the summer, so at the end of the year, we'll be 44?
I don't believe that that's what will happen. I believe that when we lose those 2, we'll be rehiring 2 to replace the 2 we're losing in the summer, and that we would be staying at that number because that's what is in the budget for 4.
Is that what your impression is?
That was my impression. That was the impression that I had when you said 46 in October, including.
No,
Okay, I'm just,
We're-
my
we're-
impression is we need the police officers on the street. The people said that. We all agreed.
Oh, well,
We're
we,
at the 46.
and I'm
And
there.
you did use the number 46, and I would like to do
46 was
48.
where, excuse me, Tom, I know the numbers I used. 46 was the number, but that was them in the academy and replacing the 2 at the year. See, don't forget one thing, and I'm fine, we got to pay for this.
Yes.
I'm certainly in agreement with putting people on the street. But we also got hit with the fact that the school is not renewing the contract for a police officer, is that correct? So that frees up another police officer that formerly was on the, in the numbers, but was assigned to the school. So, we're putting a lot of people on here, and I get that. But then people have to pay for that.
And the correlation I saw is as the numbers dropped, crime went up, the drug problem went up. I would like to get the TAC unit back.
Well, numbers.
And that's what the
numbers-
people are saying. I
and
know
I'm-
what the
I'm
numbers.
there.
but we
Numbers
have-
go up and down. If numbers went down consistently, you would end up with no crime. That's not going to happen. I mean, you're always going to have, you stay within, hopefully, the goalpost kind of a deal.
And
and-
that's why we're trying to cut a number to get to that goal
Well,
post.
we originally, when we came on, we said 45 is where we were at, and we made the commitment to return to that. And this will put us over that. And I'm just saying we have to pay for that. I'm certainly in favor of police protection. You don't want to be put on the other side of that, but get ready to pay for it. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, well, are you done? Okay, well then, I have to look it over and pull it apart and see which way I'm going with this. But certainly, based upon history, I'll have a lot to say. Okay, so we move on from that. Is there anything, anybody else on council has anything else to add? Okay, then we thank you for everything. Appreciate this. Mike, it was an easy one for you. Lauren, excellent. I mean, you know, you sit back and you look at, like, say, Susan with the tax collection rate, and what is it, 98.32? And I mean, you know, I can't get my temperature that high. That's one of those deals that, you know, you sit and you look at that and you say to yourself, well, can you sustain that? I mean, you know, there's winds blowing coming even out of Atlantic City that we have to watch. There's a lot going on here that, you know, there was an article in the paper about half of the population in this country lives paycheck to paycheck. And we're sitting back here and we have, obviously, major problems up in Atlantic City. And I think it's incumbent on us to save every penny that we can. And I'll have my ideas on how to pay for this budget. I promise you that. So we'll be there for that.
May I just add one thing, Mayor? This budget, as the manager mentioned, includes the money that we have usually raised through the efforts of councilmen. All of us have been in the difficult situation. I think we could agree, Tom and Eric and I have all been there, the mayor, where we've been out with a tin cup looking for donations for our recreational programs, our concerts, and especially the fireworks. And I think it puts, you know, we were happy to do it, and more importantly, folks like John and Kathy Lauterbach, who are here tonight, people that are on that board. Where's our board? Right over there, the Friends of Lower Township. Those are the people that, they chipped in almost $30,000 over the last couple of years to help make the fireworks possible. And I just think that, I think it's the right thing to do. I think that it kind of puts, the benefit of the fireworks and the recreational program goes to everybody in the, both locals and visitors alike. I think it does a lot for the economy, and I'm glad that we're doing it. And I'm glad that we no longer send our council people out with the tin cups to raise the money. But I want to put these good folks on notice that there'll be other good causes that I'm sure we're going to need support for. And I want to thank, again, I promised, we can't thank them enough, all the Friends of Lower Township, including Geisis Market, the Burn Agency over there, Harpoon Henry's, who am I missing? I can't.
They'll be
Rang.
They'll be
Surrey Savings.
Thank you.
They'll be mad at you.
Kindle Ford.
Kindle Ford, yep, those good folks are real Friends of Lower Township, and we thank them again for that.
Okay. Game, set, match. We'll be seeing you again, I'm sure.
April 20th.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You're Mr. Leon. But thanks, Sue, for that tax collection rate. I mean, that's so, I remember the chart I brought out here that time, a couple of years ago. That showed, do you still have that? I mean, that tax collection rate, going back 15 years ago, there was towns that had like an 82% tax collection rate. Oh my gosh. I mean, you can't imagine trying to survive with something like that. The problem is that, you know, the economy has a lot to say about your tax collection rate. And, you know, there's just a lot going on in South Jersey right now that kind of scare you when you have, that's the good part of the tax collection rate is that she did a phenomenal job, and it's so high, she deserves a lot of praise for that. The other side of the coin is, can you do the same thing next year? And it's just like everything else. It can't keep going up because eventually you reach 100%. So there's going to be years when you're going to go down with it. And when you go down, it impacts the surplus in the following year. And that's your problem. That's your fund you begin the following year with. So, anyway, thank you. Okay, we have a discussion with Dave Perry on meeting time change.
Yes, at the work session, I believe is the proper time to bring this up and discuss it. Of quite a few constituents from my ward have asked me about a meeting change time so they can make it, and these are basically the working people, the people that work to 4:30, 5 o'clock and get home and have to grab something to eat. They can't seem to make the 6 o'clock meeting. And I do believe years ago, it was 7 years ago, I believe, the council
Just a
meeting.
few years ago, it switched.
And these people would like to come and sit in the audience, like these people here are, and participate in our meetings. And I believe back in December, Norris had brought up that he'd like to see more people come out to meetings and get involved in government, and I think it's a great idea. As I said, I was approached by quite a few people, constituents in my ward, that asked me to bring it up to see what people on council thought about changing the time to 7 instead of 6 o'clock, to give the working people a chance to get home from work, get a shower if need be, grab a bite to eat, and be able to make it here to the meeting at 7. Not everybody gets off at 3 or 3:30 in the afternoon and has the privilege to, be here at 6 o'clock without too much trouble. So, put it up for discussion and see what members of council think.
Tom?
Me, it's a mixed bag. I understand that side, and the thing I got was a lot of parents, I was talking to people, it's not just getting a meal and stuff, it's getting the kids ready. And some of them want to come up because they want to talk recreation, they want to talk this, getting different people. I know for me, getting off work, rushing, I'm going to be here, so it's quickly eat, get dressed, come to the meeting. All prep has to be done before that, but for some people, they want to come, they want to hear what's going on firsthand. Some of them do watch the meetings on television, but you get those long meetings, you're staying later. There's a plus minus to it, but if we could get more people to participate, if they're willing, if they really want to come out because it's a time change, I could live with that.
Norris?
Yeah, I'd like to, before we really made a decision, I'd like to put it out there, ask our communications person to get an article in the paper, ask people to signal, hey, would you come if we moved it to 7 o'clock? How many people would promise to come if we moved it to 7? So we could, make sure that if we move it, we would be sure of getting a net plus in terms of the attendance. Otherwise, I don't think there's any point in doing it, because people are used to doing 6 o'clock now. I'd like to know what our clerk thinks, if there's any. Does the clerk have any
I don't have
consideration?
a comment.
She wants it at 4,
At 4
I'd
o'clock?
make it in the afternoon.
so she can go home. And there's some truth to that. I mean, I agree with you. I'm not against it. I'm Switzerland on this thing. I mean, it's like, whatever the people want is fine with me. If nobody cares, then it is somewhat convenient for our staff to basically have to come in tomorrow morning, and when you have a 7 o'clock meeting, it goes to 10:30, that has a problem sometimes. But can we wait and, like, maybe at the next meeting,
Oh, yeah,
see if
sure.
anybody, I wouldn't care if the people came and they said they'd like to have one at 4 and one at 7, alternate or something like that,
Yeah.
whatever. That, that might be a little confusing, but when I first started coming down here, they had afternoon meetings.
Yeah, they switched them up. One was in the
Yeah,
afternoon, one was at...
every other meeting. One was in like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and the other one was at 7 o'clock at night. The theory being that more seniors could come to the one in the afternoon.
My only concern is that I have to advertise the budget hearing, and I have to know what time that meeting will be in order to do the proper advertisement.
Well, I don't know if
If you do
there's,
change the times, we have to
can we just leave
re-advertise all
it
of
at 6, and then if we decide
Well,
to
we got,
change it,
I
we can
think,
do.
how soon, I'm not
This
saying we're
was
doing
set-
it.
This
I'm-
is set to go in the newspaper for next Wednesday.
Well, just,
Just
make
say-
that one 6 o'clock, and if we have to adjust that one meeting, we can, if they decide to go to
Yeah,
7
the
or
budget
something
one
like
would
that.
get, we
Yeah.
usually, just even when we had the 7 o'clock meetings, the budget meeting was always at 6.
Yeah, because sometimes we got a lot of people on that, so keep it at 6, just for that
Okay,
specific
budget.
one.
And we could discuss the rest.
But I mean, the other end of, Dave, it's a good suggestion. I'm not, I'm amenable to anything. It just is whatever works, and if we get more people in here, fine, and get some of the, like I said, if we alternated and you say that you like that, that's fine too. I don't care.
Lauren, could we put a little graphic on Facebook?
Yeah, a vote?
And just vote, so we'll see what the Facebook, there's how many followers are on Facebook now. 1,800, so that's one way. And then you could ask, try to get the media to say that we're thinking out loud about it, and maybe
I mean, the
folks,
MUA went to what, 5? 5 o'clock? Was there a rationale behind that? I'm just curious.
But we wanted to see people out there, and we knew they would come.
At 5 o'clock?
Oh, yeah, had me in bed by that.
Well, anyway, okay, so we'll let's try and get a little information, and then we'll revisit this, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, we go down to the consent agenda. Council comments or questions on the consent agenda? I have a question on the bill list. And it has to do with the illegal, an advertisement we paid $850 for on page 2. I have never seen us pay that much, and I would like some kind of a explanation as to what that is. Is that the same, because I've been looking at these bills, and I look at all the bills, I really do. But there's a legal one right before there in the Cape May Store and Wave. Are they the same?
Yeah, this is planning and zoning.
They're
Open
planning and
public-
zoning, I
yeah,
get that.
open
That's their
public-
boilerplate they put out every year.
It's their Open Public Meetings Act
Well,
requirement.
one's $146.94,
Well, that was in the Star and Wave.
and the other one's $850.
That was in the Gazette.
Well, I would like you to give me something on paper for the next meeting, if that's possible, you and the manager, and kind of explain that. And if that sits as it looks, and I might be wrong, but if it sits as it looks, we may have to revisit that,
I agree with you.
okay? So, we can't, I mean, you got a year ahead of us, and out the gate, we're going to pay that for an ad, or whatever it is, for a notice of a meeting, and the other one's a fraction, so. Okay. You just let us know, because if it's something that I'm wrong with, maybe it's something that's encompasses more than I saw there. But it needs to be looked at. Okay, anybody else on the consent agenda? Okay, we'll open it up for public comment on the consent agenda.
Excuse me, gentlemen, I have to get this back here, if anybody comes up.
Oh. Oh. Oh, no.
All right, Ed Butler from the Village. The budget is here. It's coming up.
This is on the consent agenda now, Ed.
That's on the consent
Okay.
agenda.
Introduction.
You just talked about it?
Yeah, I guess it's, okay.
Yeah, well, that was
Okay,
your
go ahead,
thing.
go ahead.
You
Yeah,
made
go
a presentation here,
Yeah,
so I would
we'll go with that.
imagine I could speak about it.
Go ahead.
With that, I'm going to ask each one of the councilmen, 2.5. It's going to kill this township for a lot of people that can't afford it. Economically, development in this area is for a certain group. It's a tourist area. That's not going to change. The people in this township, including myself, live on an income that doesn't change and increases. 2.5. Adding that besides your fire tax, which is going to go up, besides your county tax, which is going to go up, your school tax, everybody wants their little bit, but that little bit accumulates to a lot. That lot is not doing the people in this area that basically are retired or low income. They don't have jobs that can support them to keep these increases going on. I'm calling each one of the councilmen to bring something up and cut this down where it comes down where actually I'd like to see a 0 tax increase. But 2.5, gentlemen, that's as astronomical for the people in the township. Maybe not for you sitting up there because you're young enough still working, or retirees with maybe a better income today than 20 years ago. So I'm making a plea to you. Look at it real closely. Try to do the best you can and bring this thing down for the average person in this township. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I think the thing that's most disconcerting about the budget is the amount of reliance on the local purpose tax, which is your property tax. And that's a big jump from 19.2 to 20.2. You know, it's a 2.5 cent increase, but the amount of the tax levy is 5% increase. That's a tough pill. And we need to talk more about that. Okay. Anybody else on the consent agenda? The lady behind you had her hand up, Helen. It's on the consent agenda now.
I just want to say one thing real quick.
Go ahead.
On the budget.
Right.
All I want to say is Mayor Beck brought up about the officer being freed from the school
Right.
over there. And I just asking that you take a look at that. I'm going to say this nicely because I don't want to rub anybody the wrong way, but not you guys, but listen, our population in this county has steadily declined. And if you look at the census and each year after, it has steadily declined. And so we're burdening more of the tax cost. And officers, you know, they work for a limited amount of time, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't, okay, don't get me wrong. It's just that when they retire, I believe that the person that's retiring is still collecting a pension when, okay, you have an officer, he retires, someone goes in to replace him. That person, the replacement, retires before, while this first officer that he replaced is still collecting a pension. So now you have like 1.5, the next guy goes in. So it becomes expensive is what I'm trying to say. So I'm just saying, please just take a look at the one retiring or not being used at the school. That's all I ask.
Thank you.
It's Helen Thompson, Phyllis.
Tommy, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Tom Fazoli, the Villas. I have a question. I know when you get to a certain income when you retire, they have this program where they freeze. Now, my question is this. We still collect the taxes, but the state would reimburse those people, or do we or we don't take it for their property tax? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. And Lauren, do you know the answer to that?
Senior freeze program.
See,
Okay.
the state pays for that?
Thank you.
Yes,
That's what I need to know.
supposedly, that's the way, we get a list. They have to verify it every year, income and everything, people. We get that, and it comes from the state. Yeah, but being honest. Okay. Yes.
Ed Butler again. I think maybe what Tom was talking about, as far as the tax freeze,
Right.
once your tax freeze is in, at that time, whenever it goes in, like years ago, somebody that lived here 10 years and applied for the tax free with the state, it was very low. Today, it's what you're paying at that time, and when your taxes at that time could be very much higher. So it's not that much that comes in with a tax freeze. It might be a couple $100. It's not astronomical. It's something that you'd have to be here for a long time and throws it way back
Right.
to keep it down where it's low. Right now, my tax freeze is over $6,600. What's above that? You know, it's from personal experience. You got to look at this thing, and Tom, really, it's not a help to the people today too much because actually your taxes are so high, and you got to be here 10 years before you apply for it. So it's really some help for before, but not now.
Well,
Okay, I just want
yeah,
to
sure.
clarify a
Our
little.
tax office has this, and we get calls all the time, and they're the experts. I wasn't anticipating this tonight. All right. Close the public portion.
Approval of minutes, February 2nd, 2015. Resolutions number 2015-67 through 2015-75.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Resolution number 2015-76. This is a resolution authorizing the payout of accumulated comp time for an officer, Michael Perry, in the amount of $8,684.13.
Council comments? Public comments? Close public portion, motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Abstain.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes. Move down to administrative reports. Police, clerk, construction. Council comments?
Well, I never thought I'll see the day when below 30 felt warm. Today was a nice day, but it was interesting. We've had an interesting week, trying to get everything done in this township. People need to realize, though, I know there's going to be complaints about the plowing, but how many actual streets we have in this township and how many miles of those streets there are. Everyone's picture's lower as it being this small place, and I know it's like 32 square miles, but how many side roads do we actually have? It's a nightmare. But then again, the other day we had a power outage, and I saw Lower acting the proper way. All the lights were out in most of the township last, I believe it was Saturday. And people were coming up to the lights, and they were acting courteous. They were paying attention. They were letting other people go. It was a good thing in these days and this day where you hear all the rude people, road rage. People were coming to stops, letting other people go, and there was nobody just plowing through. I want to commend the citizens for that.
I'd like to thank Gary Douglas and the people from Public Works that were out there all hours of the early morning, plowing and doing their job. I know, as what Tom said, there is a lot of roads in Lower Township. I have to tell you, Gary, that I got quite a few phone calls from people that were happy, more than happy, very pleased with the job that Public Works had done, especially keeping the major arteries open in town that are heavily traveled. So, again, nice job, Gary.
Okay, I have several matters to bring up tonight. First off is an issue that's being raised by one of our residents, Andy Long, and it's regarding Bayshore Road, County Road 607. And there's some serious issues there I just want to bring up. I talked about it with Councilman Simonson, as this is in his ward. But let me just read a portion of this letter. What I'm going to be asking council to do is support the letter that's being, the request that's being made of the county to do something about this road. Dear Mr. Foster, I'm writing after a number of unsuccessful attempts to reach you by phone to discuss a persistently dangerous condition at the reference location between Stimson Lane and Sox Lane in Lower Township, with the hope that your office will take measures to improve safety of this stretch of road and avoid further injuries and property damage. Since 2006, this curve has been the scene of 5 serious motor vehicle accidents, all involving injuries, 2 of which were nearly fatal. Most recently, on December 19th, 2014, an impaired driver left the roadway at high speed, causing severe damage to both my and my neighbor's property. The vehicle was stopped by a large tree in front of 4081 Bayshore after plowing through 150 feet of mature hedges and trees and another fence, a set of masonry steps, and hitting the front of the dwelling. The driver was severely injured. So this road, it seems the pattern here is that people are using this road maybe to, after having a night of drinking in Cape May and trying to make it back to Lower Township and not going on the main drag and kind of going on this side road. That's one theory, and there's a curve there that under the influence of alcohol, they're not able to handle, and it's really an issue. And what's being called for is the construction of some barriers. So just want to ask council to consider supporting this basically sending a letter to the county saying we support having something done on this county road, if that's appropriate.
Yeah, hopefully they'll consider the double line on the end of the bridge also for the biker. Yeah, it's getting them to react sometimes is, let's see, we've asked them to do Fishing Creek.
Well, and while we're at it, maybe the manager can get a hold of them. We had the lady here about the curb in the villas. And I think she was supposed to come in, and that's a county problem also. Do you remember that?
They responded back on that. I saw the correspondence
That's a
from
tough
from
curve.
the freeholder Norton to Mr. Foster about that issue.
Okay.
But another car went over on the bridge the other night.
Could we agree?
Yes.
Could we agree to send, we're going to send a letter to the counties?
I have no problem.
No, I don't.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
but we can list all the issues we have.
Right, get them out.
All. Give them a bucket.
Okay, it just so happens, Ed, you're not the only one concerned about taxes. I got two really urgent pleas this week from people that are not only facing tax increases over the years from one person, 8,000 to over 10,000 a year, but they're facing insurance increases. And I just, from 2 quarters, just quite by accident, really long, impassioned emails about please think twice about raising taxes. So it's the insurance on top of the taxes. And this brings us into the whole FEMA conversation and the fact that many people are going to be facing increased insurance costs by virtue of the V-zone, which is driving its way through our neighborhood unless we can do something about it. So I just wanted to bring that up. And then also, I'm sure the mayor will emphasize this, but everyone should come out on the 23rd. That's when we'll be gathering here, at 6 o'clock for the FEMA meeting. And we're going to need to be out here in force with lots of questions. We've spent good money tonight on our docket
Might as well read it.
to have Stu Farrell look at this and make sure that they're calling it correctly. But there's issues that we're going to have to address. And it's of great concern to our residents. FEMA meeting, Monday, February 23rd, 6 to 8 p.m. at Town Hall. Representatives will be here to answer questions regarding the V-zone and map changes. This meeting will be recorded and posted on the township's website. And also, the next one is the Lower Township Rotary Club.
That's
I think we're also going to have an insurance person there to,
Yeah.
let the people know. We will have an insurance representative there to answer your questions concerning that also.
So there, a lot of our people, not only with the high taxes, some over 10,000 facing higher insurance, but now they're going to be getting the message that maybe we need to all chip in and pay for, a barrier along the bay at $400 a foot. And I've known people that have just, they're throwing up their hands and saying, I'm heading to Florida. This is, more than we can handle. So this is a matter of great concern, and we need to get everybody out to make sure that all the questions are answered with the FEMA folks. We've gone to Senator Van Drew. He has promised to coordinate all of our concerns with the whole Bayshore region. This is a problem that we all face. We're starting to call this the left coast, the coast that's been left behind. We all know that Sandy took care of the Atlantic side, but the Bayshore side is not going to get any beach protection money from Sandy because our beach protection is based on environmental issues and not shore protection. So therefore, the Sandy money is not going to apply to us. Even they told us we were going to get it, but then when it came right down to it, there's no shore protection because our shore protection is predicated on looking after horseshoe crabs and the red knots and their eggs. So we've asked Senator Van Drew to get Cumberland, get Cape May County together, the municipalities along the bay, including Middle Township, and let's try to address all of this. He's promising to get all of the DEP, every authority in New Jersey that's relevant to this question into the room to try to come up with some solutions. We're going to have to deal with this as a region. We can't just deal with it one home at a time. And then finally, we need to get the good congressman. Someone needs to make sure he's he's brought into this because it's at the federal level as well, Congressman Lobiondo.
Yeah, we addressed that with him, got him to start listening and pointed out some problems we're having on that side, and I'm sure we could get him to help more.
Yeah, we're going to need all hands rowing on this one. So that's all I have to say about that.
Did a nice job with it, too. Okay, here we go. The Lower Township Rotary Club, who do great work. They're looking for veterans, Lower Township veterans. Get ready for this. This is big. I'll be there. They'd like to thank you for the service to your country, and they're buying us breakfast at Uncle Bill's Pancake House, March 16th through March 20th. You get a choice of the Ferry Special or a soup and a half a sandwich. I'll take both.
You're really selling it there.
Yeah, I am. What time do they open in the morning? It says that you have to have proof of residency in Lower Township, along with your Cape May County Veterans Card or Veterans ID card. Tom, you got your stuff? You all set for this one? I'll be there. Okay, so that's they're a great organization, and it's very generous of them to do that, and I'll try and get over there. And that is it.
No, one more.
We got-
Bring it up.
What is it?
Baby of the Saturday.
Oh, Eileen's, yeah, we did the Bayview. What time is that,
6 to 9.
6 to 10 at the Bayview this Saturday for the Run for the Fallen.
We had a good presentation last meeting on that.
Yeah, we had, but just as a reminder, it's a fantastic organization. Okay, we open it up now to the call to the public. If anybody wishes to speak, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Brian O'Connor. I'm the chairman of the Lower Township MUA, and I'd like to give you a 2014 report on the MUA. I'm going to read it verbatim. So, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to provide you with an update on the Lower Township MUA, where we have been and where we are going. The LTMUA has had an outstanding year of performance and progress, despite an atmosphere of uncertainty. Our employees, administration, and board performed admirably, overcoming huge challenges, including the resignation of our chairman and the retirement of our longtime office manager and other turmoil. Because of the dissolution attempt to the MUA, we are unable to hire an executive director. But we worked together as a team and did the best we could under extremely difficult circumstances. Thankfully, the voters of Lower Township took action, and we can look to 2015 as being a year of cooperation and professionalism. This will enable us to collectively focus on the task at hand, deliver high-quality, efficient, and effective services to you, our ratepayers. Let me take a moment to tell you about a few of our successes. The authority's 2015 budget appropriations reflect a significant decrease when compared to the 2014 budget appropriations. Budgeted operating expenses decreased over $1.3 million from those budgeted in 2014. Those savings were in salaries and wages and fringe benefits, over $500,000, and other operating expenses, over $800,000. The salary and wages and the related fringe benefit savings were primarily due to attrition through restructuring and employee retirements. Other operating expenses were significantly reduced through identifying and implementing operating efficiencies, yet we still managed to provide the same high level of services. Last year, you probably heard reports that the dissolution of the MUA would result in $1 million in savings. This was and is simply untrue. The truth is, we as the LTMUA had put together a plan, and those $1 million in ratepayer dollars would have been saved anyway, with or without the dissolution. Let's give credit where credit is really due. I'm happy to tell you that even with these savings realized, the authority's 2015 budget still includes $1,250,000 in capital expenditures, including over $1 million for much-needed sewer main installation at Wissahickon and Skellinger's Landing. All of this is being done with no budgeted increases in either sewer or water rates. Now, I have told you of the challenges that we faced in 2014. Despite all of the political turmoil, great things got done by our team. A few of our accomplishments to 2014 include Phase 3 and 3A of the Town Bank Villas water extension was completed and all 5 miles of roads repaired. The board approved the expansion of water to the villas and sewer to Irma. Our engineers have applied for funds to make this a reality. A geographical information system has been put in place to map all of our piping, fixtures, and pump stations. Digital map books are being used by our field crews and are updated on a regular basis. A new LTMUA website was produced in-house by Jim McDowell, saving us thousands. I urge everyone to visit this site and use it. It is filled with a wealth of information, including the most recent sewer service area map and details on our 2 ongoing infrastructure projects. Thank you, Jim, for your time and effort and expertise to make the new website a reality. I am excited at the prospects of our new era of cooperation with the township and to what we can accomplish in 2015. Already this year, we purchased state-of-the-art vac truck, which has been in use since arrival at our facility. Since the old vac truck was next to worthless for a trade-in, we had it refurbished from top to bottom. So we now have 2 vac trucks ready and primed to serve our constituents. They will both be used on a regular basis. We have shared many things with the township, from heavy machinery to the use of their large-scale map plotter. We partner on many projects, such as the building of the tidal control structure at Coxhall Creek. This was sharing at its best, since it saved thousands of dollars in electric bills for the township and did not cost the residents a dime. It removed an unsightly and unsafe pump house, restored Coxhall Creek to its natural beauty, bringing back many shorebirds, crabs, and fish. We look forward to continuing working with them in 2015 to make even more improvements in this area. But this is just a start. I envision an atmosphere of cooperation and sharing with the township that would be so strong and fiscally beneficial for both the township and the MUA that a dissolution of the MUA will only be considered when our work is done, when the full build-out of sewer and water is completed and all of our aging infrastructure is replaced. Towards that end, I have instructed our acting executive director, Craig Loper, to work with Township Manager Jim Ridgway in molding the shared service agreement to ensure that both the MUA and the township are taking full advantage of our areas of expertise. We have a specialty that is working with pipes and pumps, and that is all we do. Our workforce takes extreme pride in bringing safe, potable water to our customers and making sure that their sewage waste is collected, treated, and disposed of safely. Collectively, the LTMUA and the township make a great team, and we are committed to keeping our team strong through good, solid communication and coordination. We are starting to replace our aged infrastructure with the Skellinger's Landing and Wissahickon projects. Our employees continue to hook up water to the people in the villas on the streets that have been improved and permitted by the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. we have another 5-year project required by NJDEP to interconnect with the water purveyor north of us in Middle Township. This will guarantee that under catastrophic circumstances, we will have access to clean potable water, making both our systems and our community stronger and more resilient. In closing, I would just like to thank all the MUA employees whose lives were turned upside down over the past year because of politics. These men and women did the best job that they could, continue to provide high-quality services despite the uncertain future of our authority, and showed our customers that the customers' needs always came first. I would also like to thank the Lower Township MUA Board, Mr. Tom Frizzoli, Mr. Pete Biddings, Mr. Stephen Sheffs, for all the help and guidance they have given me through this challenging transition year. And finally, I would like to thank my wife, Patty, for putting up with me during one of the most stressful years of our lives. I promised her after the election that things would get better, and as you can see tonight, they already have. Good night and God bless.
Yes, I see a hand.
Good evening, Steve Sheffs of Town Bank. Just one short statement. Our chairman gave up 10 vacation days of his, that's it, he lost them, for the work that he has put in the MUA. And he's there evenings, he's working all the time. Among the reasons we're successful are because of some operating philosophies. And I think we share these with most all of our employees. There are 8 of these. Excellence. Conduct all aspects of operation in a way that reflects high standards and professional work. Trust. Deal with each other with integrity, fair, honest, and open. Leadership. Provide leadership by making others feel powerful, potent, and effective. Communications should be simple, direct, honest, and accurate. Constituent focus. Our constituents are the reason for our being successful, and our relationship should be constantly tested against the benefit to them. Decision-making, provide those people who work hard the means to influence decisions that affect them. Teamwork, working together in such a way that each individual's efforts are reflected in the most positive way to achieve the group's common goals. Dignity of individuals. Each individual is to be treated with respect and acknowledgement that his or her actions are key to the organization's success. Thank you.
John Skoronsky, 607 Arctic Avenue. I would like to reiterate what Ed Butler said earlier about the budget. Myself and my retired friends are in a tough bind economically these days. The county tax is going up, school taxes will probably go up, township tax. We would very much love to have a 0 increase in taxes. So please look at the budget very carefully and do what you can for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Ellen Thompson, 44 East Delaware Parkway, Villas. I'm not sure if everybody got this, but this is a NOAA National Weather Service. It's It's the temperature and relative humidity. This is concerning the dog ordinance, the extreme weather ordinance. It is the color-coded chart. It shows the likelihood of heat disorders with prolonged exposure and strenuous activity. And I understand that the top of that extreme weather advisory was 95. And with this chart in mind, at 95 degrees, the relative humidity in our area for June, July, August, September is between 70 in the morning, 70% humidity, up to the top 80% humidity. And that would be taken at 7 o'clock in the morning, and at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's in the, well into the 50s, like 57 and up into the 60s and above. And according to that, with the temperature of 95 here, it puts the dogs, it would put dogs, pets, whatever, in the danger zone. It would put them out there in 119-degree weather, 124-degree weather, 129, that would be extreme danger. And 95 is too hot, okay, for the top temperature. It needs to be 85, honestly, would be preferable, but I'm not sure you'll even consider that. But 90 would be better. 90 would still put them in over 100 degrees. At 70% humidity, they'd still be in the danger zone at 105. And there's nothing in the ordinance that say that dogs have to have shade. And a doghouse is not considered shade. It's a sweat box, honestly. Okay, and just Plainfield, New Jersey adopted an ordinance, extreme weather ordinance, with the top temperature of 85 degrees, bringing dogs in, and 32-degree low. Newcastle, Pennsylvania, their, I'm sorry, wait a minute. Plainfield is, proposed an ordinance, it has not adopted it yet. It proposes an ordinance this month for the top temperature 85 and the low 32 with extreme weather. Newcastle, Pennsylvania, they adopted an extreme weather ordinance for the pets, 90 top temperature, 32 low. Pittsburgh is considering an extreme weather ordinance, low temperature 32, top temperature 90 degrees. And I don't know what you've
I don't know,
done,
it's something in
Mr.
the back.
Spankowitz, but
I can tell you that the range of the language that I talked about was a low of 32 and a high of 90 degrees.
that's good. That's good. I'm good
There
with
were
that.
some other provisions that I also recommended or was prepared to recommend. I know the manager's been working on it around the clock, really. I think a lot of what you said is incorporated into the enactment that he's going to ultimately ask council to approve.
One other thing I did want to mention, the tether laws that we have, the tether ordinance, the way it reads here in our township is no dog shall be tethered more than 9 hours in a 24-hour period. That's unenforceable unless you have an officer stationed at the house. I'm asking that you set specific hours. Maybe daylight hours would be better. It gets colder at night. Or certain hours, that's enforceable by animal control. You know, I'd like animal control, and animal control would like animal control to have ordinances that they can enforce. And that's what I'm asking.
There are considerations that I believe the manager and I have also incorporated into what we're going to recommend.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to address council? Close the public portion. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All
All in favor? Say aye.
Unanimous.